Hello, so today's video is going to be one of those Giga Highroll videos. I think this is the most Highroll I've had of a game, the entire set. And it's not like, not anything super crazy. This is just going to be a Fast 9 Shapeshifter board. I've done a couple videos on it. I'm getting better at playing it. I'm getting better at understanding like what a good spot looks like and looking at stats and understanding like, hey, what's okay here. I hit Eternal Growth early, so I actually have Jace pair. That's the reason I took this. Because I look at my items, I look at my start, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well I have a Nomsy on bench, I have a Jace pair. I actually misread it. I think it used to give a Shyvana, so I thought it was going to make me Shyvana paired. But instead, I just start with a Shyvana. So this is actually a really good start when you have Eternal Growth. Basically what Eternal Growth does is every time, every round you gain 30 HP on all your shapeshifters if they are adjacent to another shapeshifter. So it's really important to have the early game board where you have like upgraded or good shapeshifters, and then they could easily excuse me, easily gain those stacks, because then they'll be relevant late in the game. Eternal Growth is kind of like a learning to spell for the shapeshifter board. If you have a good spot where you're really strong and you could fast 9 around it, then you also get the opportunity to play like that fast 9 shapeshifter board in addition to this. So if we look at the stats in general, it's going to be the stats of today. So I'll try and toggle between this patch and last patch. If you go Eternal Growth, you see that it averages really well. It averages above 4.5. The one that sometimes confuses people is Eternal Growth Plus. It averages way better. That's just because it gives you a starting 100 HP, and it gives it to you in your mid game. So a lot of times you're just in a more high roll spot with Eternal Growth Plus, because like, you know, it just gives it's like you already have the opener on the board, and that's usually why you get offered Eternal Growth and you take it in the mid game. So either way, it's really good. The bigger problem with Eternal Growth is that it's kind of like has a really high win percentage, as you can see. Like anything above like 10% a lot of the time means that it's a little bit skewed by win percentage. The main thing with Eternal Growth is that you have to have a good opener for it. You have to have a lot of the early game units, so having early Shyvanas, early Nikos, early Swains, early Elise. Well, not Elise as much, early upgrades on Elise. What you want to do is you want to have the units that are going to be relevant later in the game in as early as possible. So that's why, like, you know, playing around, like having an early Shyvana and you see Eternal Growth, it's really good to take because you're going to get stacks on that Shyvana every turn. It doesn't matter whether she kills or not. Eternal Growth just works like if the unit is on your board, it will gain 30 permanent health. So if you start the game with a Shyvana or a Nico or a Swain and you have Eternal Growth, that's a really good spot to maybe play towards like this shapeshifter line. I've done like 3 or 4 videos on it. I'm running out of things to play. There's going to be some other fun videos later in the week. Hopefully I played some Syndra. I played some Eldritch Syndra. I played some more Warriors. But, you know, it is what it is. Like a lot of the comps are just what the comps are. So if you want to look just as the quick little guide portion, you can skip this part if you've already seen it before, but basically what you're doing is you're going to play around vertical shapeshifters. Late game, you usually drop Jace. If you have a lot of stacks on Jace, you can drop somebody else. And then in your backline, you're always going to play it with Dragon. So ideally, your late game scenario will look something like this, where you'll have Varus, a Smolder, and you'll keep a copy of a Nomsy, always. 3 Dragon is a huge spike. It's been really relevant ever since Smolder's Dragon ability got upgraded to doing extra damage. Before it used to be like Smolder would just heal, and that was really irrelevant. But basically 3 Dragon is very strong, and this is a comp where you can reroll it, so you can go for like Shyvana 3 and Nomsy 3. But ideally, you're normally playing like a fast 9 kind of board. Shyvana 2, she got nerfed a little bit. This is with the most recent patch, and you'll see that she's still really strong. It was only a very slight nerf, right? If you're keeping up with competitive TFT, a lot of the patches are only going to be slight tweaks. They're not going to be like, you know, drastic changes to the meta in any way. So this comp is still going to be relevant in this patch. Shyvana 2 usually will carry you until level, like, you know, will carry you for most of your mid game until you're around level 8. Then she'll start to fall off if other people have upgraded boards. But ideally, you're trying to fast 9 with an early Shyvana, early really strong front line around shapeshifters that are strong. And you're trying to preserve a lot of HP, make a bunch of gold, and then you're usually sacking around stage 4 to try and make it to level 9. The reason you're trying to fast 9 with this comp is because you need to have both a Smolder as well as a Briar, right? So a lot of this comp really comes down to itemizing and playing around a Briar and a Smolder. Because you're playing around 2-5 costs, it's going to be very difficult for you to hit those on level 8, and the comp is significantly weaker if you don't have the Smolder, especially the Briar. If you're playing Eternal Growth as well, you pretty much cap your board out around Briar. You could play around like a Varus carry or even an Olaf carry in some cases. You could, if you don't have Varus, like on level 8, sometimes you can play something like this until you make it to 9. But ideally, you're hitting Briar and you need to find at least one copy of Smolder. It will make Shyvana be very relevant in your late game. Noms, you will also do a pretty significant chunk of damage. You can kill 1 or 2 units. And Smolder will just go absolutely insano with the 3 dragon buffs. So that's typically what you end up playing around. Anyways, let's go back to the game, and you'll see the reason this spot became so good. So I'm win streaking, right? This is typically what your game should look like if you're trying to fast 9. You should be win streaking. I had Jace upgraded from the early game, and then I also got an Elise upgrade, so I'm itemizing my Elise for my mid game. And on Carousel, I actually got a Swain, so I'm able to play 4 Shapeshifter, 2 Dragon. 4 Shapeshifter is way better than the Hunters, and I have this Swain that's now stacking. Swain is now stacking Eternal Growth. Remember what I said, whenever you play this comp, you always want to have either early Shyvana, early Swain, or you want to have upgrades on both Elise and Jace. So I took the augment because at the time of the gold augments, it was my best option because it gave me the upgraded Jace, or at least I think it was my best option. I could have also like forced towards Hunting Frenzy because that's quite strong, but then you're just asking to get contested a lot of time. It's a little bit more risky. But anyways, because I had upgraded Jace, I was able to win a couple of the early game fights. Then I was able to hit my upgraded Elise, so that carried me. And now I'm insanely strong because basically all of these units are gaining 30 HP every single turn. Like every single player combat, they gain 30 HP. And that's permanent HP that's going to last for the rest of the game. So all of these low-cost units, right, the Shyvana, the Elise, the Jace. Well, Jace I'll probably drop eventually because he doesn't really fit into the board that well as primarily a damage dealer instead of a tank. But I have this Swain early that's stacking. So right now I'm in a very, very strong spot. I made Crown Guard because I'm hopefully going to itemize this Shyvana if I can. We'll see exactly what I can itemize. I use my remover early just to make sure that I wasn't gonna lose the remover, right? Because if you use a remover, then you get a new one, so you should always use your remover at the start of neutral rounds. But if you're trying to learn how to play the Shapeshifter line, this is typically what you want your board to look like. You want it to look like upgraded units, win streaking, Eternal Growth. Here I hit a Shyvana too, so now I can itemize towards the Shyvana. And if we look at the items that I hit, there's 2 options here. I can take another Shyvana item or a frontline item, something like Hand of Justice or Gargoyle Stoneplate. Both would be okay on Shyvana, but to me at least, I think the better option is to take Thieves Gloves, so that's what I end up taking here. The reason I took Thieves Gloves is because, like I said, all my units are stacking. All of these Shapeshifters, a lot of times you're just playing them for synergy. So, like, you know, Swain doesn't necessarily tank that much. What's her name? Elise doesn't really tank that much typically, right? They're not super relevant. They don't do that much damage or do that much, especially into late game, unless you're going for a reroll variation. You're hitting a 3-star version. Like 2-star Elise, it's a 1 cost. It's going to fall off eventually. However, because I'm Eternal Growth, they're always going to have some level of relevancy. So I thought it would be really good to get a Thieves Gloves because, you know, I can put that on one of the units, whether it be Swain, whether it be Elise, whether it be a Briar eventually. It's just like really good tempo because it gives me more than just one single item right now. So a lot of times Thieves Gloves are very good early game. And as well, my units are going to be relevant, so it's also good late game. Here I also hit Sleight of Hand, same idea. I'm trying to tempo really early. Right now I'm win streaking, right? I'm 6 streaking. I'm very rich. I'm very strong. I'm trying to aim for this fast 9 kind of board. There was another option there, which was Explosive Growth. Even though I'm aiming towards making a fast 9 board, I would like to take an augment that makes me as strong as possible in the current round. There is a guy that's contesting me, but his spot looks significantly worse than mine. He has Clear Mind, so he's trying to like shoot the moon and make it there, but we'll see what happens. Either way, an extra Thieves Gloves is really good for me here because now I have 2 Thieves Gloves. They both get Sleight of Hand value. If you don't know, Sleight of Hand also gives HP. It gives 100 HP to whoever's holding Thieves Gloves. So with Shapeshifters that they scale off of HP as their primary like built-in mechanic, it's actually pretty good to put on all my units. So I can itemize the Swain, get a little bit more tempo, right? I basically have so many items compared to most of the lobby. This guy has a lot of items because he also has Sleight of Hand. But it's a really strong item augment. Yes, there were some other options, but I could have taken Unleash the Beast for like Sterix for Briar eventually, or Olaf. But in this case, I'm just down to itemize as many units as possible, make them all super relevant, right? That's the main idea here. So that's the part that's really high roll. Hitting the Swain early, hitting the Shyvana early, and then hitting Eternal Growth on top of that. A lot of times you'll see people take Eternal Growth and they don't have Shyvana, they don't have, they just have like Elise and Jace. And there it's a lot more risk. It's a lot riskier, excuse me, just because like you don't have the guaranteed stacks on the Shyvana. Here, this is a little bit of a risky play. But in my head, I say to myself, I'm probably playing for first here, so I'm gonna try and do like the Giga play. I level here. I off tempo level to 7. I look in my pool and I think I beat everybody except this guy. I was kind of scared of because he looked like his board was really strong and he leveled to 7. So what I decided is, okay, I'm gonna level to 7 here. I'm protecting a 7 streak, right? So this is like an all-in, like I have to win this round. If I win this round, I'm gonna get 3 gold anyways, so I didn't want to risk losing the round and then not getting the 3 gold, right? When you're making econ, you make econ based on the amount of gold that you have of interest in intervals of 10, right? So because I was 50 gold before, and I would have made 5 gold of interest that turn. If I lost the round, I would have only gained +5. If I win the round, if I level and it makes me win the round, then I would gain +3 from the +3 from the 30 gold that I have in my bank, and another 3 gold because of my win streak, right? Because I'm protecting a win streak. The longer I have this win streak going, the more rounds I'm getting +3 gold every single turn. So that's why I decided to level there. Additionally, leveling was really good because I get the Nico in. So now the Nico could also start stacking and I don't have to lose Hunter on the Nomsy because the Nomsy is actually doing quite a bit of damage even though it's a Nomsy 1. So I'm kind of down to just level, putting this Nico. Yes, I'm 5 Shapeshifter, but they're all stacking. This guy got a Nasus on Carousel, so that's a little bit scary. But his item builds, I don't know exactly if that's correct. I'm playing more towards tempo to make sure I make it to level 9. As you can see, I don't really have Briar items right now. Because in your early game, you should never really try and itemize towards either Smolder or Briar. If you're trying to play the Shapeshifter line, you always want to itemize towards Shyvana first. You will eventually have items for Briar. You will eventually have items for Smolder. But you want to make sure that you make it to level 9. Or at least level 8, right? You want to make sure that you make it. You play your tempo. Shyvana is going to be your carry for most of your early game as well as a good portion of your mid game. So you want to make sure that you itemize with good Shyvana items. So the other guy that's contesting me, he looks like he's itemizing for Briar right away. That's not that great because if you low roll and you don't hit a Briar early, then your items aren't that great on Shyvana, and they're also not going to be that great on many other units. You could itemize that way and then play around the Olaf out, where you just play Olaf with Shapeshifters until you make it to level 9 to play the Smolder Briar board that's a little bit higher cap. Or you can play like a Frost variation, like Shapeshifter Frost with Hunter is something that works out occasionally, right? You play 3 Frost, 2 Hunter around Twitch, Olaf, and then the rest of the Shapeshifters. That's a different variation, but either way, like I said, I definitely think that I'm way stronger than most people in the lobby. There is one guy who basically sent it. That's the guy I lost last round to. It was unfortunate, but I basically just died to the Ziggs. I think if I position a little bit better, I might have been able to beat that guy because he sniped my Nomsy really early. But either way, I should be stronger than most people in the lobby right now. And I'm stacking, right? It's been 2 whole stages that I've been stacking 30 HP on all my Shapeshifters, and they all gain bonus HP every time they transform. Or not every time, but when they transform, they gain like a percentage more HP, especially if you're playing 6 Shapeshifter. It's very, very significant. So it's like this huge... I'm making like the Giga frontline of Doom, right? Like the frontline's gonna be so fucking strong, especially with all my lesser units already being in, right? I have the Nico scaling, I have the Swain that's been scaling. I already have Swain 2, I already have Shyvana 2. I don't have to roll that much to try and find upgrades. I just have to probably level to 8, find 1 copy of Nasus, that's like the main thing, and then I can probably use my HP lead to make it straight to level 9, then roll on level 9 and try and find the Briar and the what's his name? The Briar and the Smolder. There's a Diana. I'm just gonna hold on to it just in case. If I don't, sometimes like having Frost in is really good, because Frost also just got buffed, so it's pretty strong nowadays. But ideally, what you're trying to do is you're trying to trying to find like the board that I was saying, either play Varus or play Olaf as like your damage unit, and then the rest is just Shapeshifters and Nomsy. But of course you can also drop and you can play like 4 Shapeshifter, 4 Hunter or something like that, and then you can play like 4 Shapeshifter and then you can put in the Diana and play around Frost a little bit. These are all just intermediate boards. It's important to understand that with an intermediate board you can win out, or you can like win out on your mid game and then set yourself up for like a really strong pivot into late game. So I'm holding on to Diana just in case. This guy's really strong. He's playing Hunters, I think, because he's rolling mostly for Wukong, so I'm not too concerned even though I see dragons on his board. This is actually like kind of crazy though. I have another glove. Like I already have two Thieves Gloves, and this is Lucky Gloves Plus, so it gives me 3 Sparring Gloves. I can itemize everybody. So I think there's some options that are better, and the stats will say Lucky Gloves isn't the best option there for Prismatic. I even forgot the portal is Prismatic Ender, so I knew there was a Prismatic coming up. Now I'm going to be honest here, I was not planning around hitting Lucky Gloves. I just kind of said to myself, yeah, whatever, like this is just good now. Also, I rolled once and I found a Nasus. So this is the high roll part, right? I roll my opening, I roll my mid game. So this is a game where I'm probably just playing for first, right? So I'm gonna greed as much as I can. I'm gonna not slams, insane, like not great items. I'm basically playing for the win out here. Also, if you notice on the side, the guy that was contesting me just FF'd. I think he tilted out. Like he's not like, there was one guy contesting me. He's literally gone. He literally FF'd. I don't know why. I think he took Call to Chaos and he got like the emblems and he didn't like his emblem, so he just left the game. I don't know what he was trying to do, and I don't know why he FF'd, but like I feel like he could have done something, right? Even if he had to pivot off of Call to Chaos, I don't know what he was looking for. But now I'm uncontested as well, which is even better. So, you know, yay! Finally, a nice high roll game. Don't worry. Anybody who's like angry at me for doing well in this game and like having things work out for me, rest assured, the exact game right after this, I got Worth the Wait, Blitzcrank, and somebody else took Zap Attack and they instantly hit Blitzcrank 3, so they were just stronger than me the whole game, holding all of the same units as me, because like it's just a forced contest at that point, because you know I couldn't play around the fact that he had Zap Attack. Worth the Wait just gave me a Blitzcrank. And I went 7th, and I'm sure that guy went bot 4 as well. So I lost all the LP. The 7th, whatever I placed here, trust me, I lost more LP in the next game right after. So, you know, let me have this one, okay? Let me just, let me have this one. I high rolled once, just, let me have it. Here, component anvil is actually really big, because I could get another Thieves Gloves. So if I get a glove here, bang, Thieves Gloves. So that's another Lucky Gloves. I can put it on this Jace for the time being, because I have Jace upgraded. I can also put items on Nasus, but that's a little bit for later. Something else that I just want to point out. So this is something that I was talking about a little bit about before, but I'm going to talk about it again now. If you're looking to play this line, look at my items, right? Not the Thieves Gloves. That's a separate issue. If you look at my Shyvana, at one point I made Spark, right? After the recent neutral round, I decided to make Spark. Now, is Spark a Briar item? Hell no. Is Spark a Smolder item? Fuck no. Spark is only good on Shyvana, but I chose to make Spark because it sets me up really well in this stage. You always want to prioritize making Shyvana items. Shyvana, Spark is really, really good on her. Crown Guard is really, really good on her. These aren't items that are good on Briar. Now, Sterix, that is technically a Briar item. It's just the way my items worked out. I decided, okay, I'll just make Sterix. It gives HP. It's fine. So eventually, I'm going to move the Sterix onto a Briar. But for the mid game, I chose to make Spark. Make sure that you always consider that. It's not always 100% right to like put all your faith and like play around the Shyvana, but whenever you're playing this line, a good chunk of your damage comes from Shyvana. For a 2 cost, she does a significant amount of damage. Units like Swain can sometimes carry, but he needs a lot of AP. Nico and Elise and Jace, like Jace 2 can carry, but the main unit that usually does damage is Shyvana just diving the backline. So making sure that she does as much damage as possible, so giving her a Spark, she can dive the backline, snipe the carry, and then instantly win you the game. or win you the round, so that it sets you up to win the game. So never like cut it short. That's what I was talking about with the other guy's board. I'm not trying to rag on him. I don't think he's a bad player. We're all equals, right? We're all in the same fucking elo, right? These are my peers. What I'm just saying is, like, you know, conceptually, if you're playing this board, you want to have good Shyvana items early game, and then your late game, you work on the Smolder and the Briar items. You don't want to do it the other way around, because then you're kind of sacking too much, right? You're putting yourself in a bad spot for your late game. Yeah, this is like my third or fourth time. Like, I don't know how many times. It's my third or fourth video, at least, on this channel playing this comp. This comp's kind of like fun if you have a spot for it. Of course, you always have to be careful. Like, if you saw my opener, I only took Eternal Growth because I had Jace pair. If I didn't have Jace pair, I probably wouldn't lean towards this comp. It's not as strong as people might think. It's definitely overplayed, right? This Shapeshifter line is definitely overplayed because you can roll like 50 gold on level 9 and you can hit 0 Briars and 0 Smolders. It's not even that unlucky. It's not like, oh, I rolled 50 gold on level 9, I'm guaranteed to hit a Smolder. Not really. Like, there's so many times where you're rolling for a particular 5 cost on level 9 and you do not hit it. Even in 50 gold, I've rolled on like 80 gold and I didn't find a Smolder one time, right? There's a lot of aspects of this game that are very high roll, but you always have to take into account that you always have to take into account that you need to be in a really good spot for the comp in the first place in order to play it. And it really holds true with this comp. Just keep that in mind. So don't just like force it. Don't, like, you know, it is broken. It does really well sometimes. But like, don't contest into Shapeshifters fast 9 because, you know, you can never really like, this was a game for a fast 9. I'm 30 HP up on everybody else and I didn't roll a single time on stage 4. I lost 2 rounds this entire game. The 1 round on 4-1 and the 1 round in the middle of stage 2. Every other round I've won. You know what I mean? Or maybe I lost one other round. Who knows? But the whole point that I'm trying to say is that I am so far ahead on HP because of my opener being so strong. Eternal Growth with an upgraded Shapeshifter unit, with a Nomsy, with a Shyvana. My units are very hard to take down. They're going to scale into late game, so I don't have to worry about them. I played around tempo. I took Thieves Gloves as a gold augment and then I hit Lucky Gloves eventually, which is like giga high roll in this spot in particular. But you know, I had those items. Anyways, here, this is a really funny part. So as you can see, I have another glove. I am not gonna make an additional Thieves Gloves here. There is no reason to make another Thieves Gloves. I'm just kind of figuring out my items here at this point. But if you look at the items, I have the option to make another Thieves Gloves, but I'm not going to. The reason I'm not making another Thieves Gloves, by the way, is primarily because who am I going to itemize with it, right? I need to itemize Briar, and I need to itemize Smolder. I already have a Sterex for Briar. I'm going to get another item on Carousel, so this is stage 5 now, right? Carousel is going to have completed items. Dragon is going to be completed items. At one point, 3 items is going to be better than a Thieves Gloves, right? Thieves Gloves only gives 2 items. So if you have a Briar as your main carry or a Smolder as your main carry, you want to have 3 items on them. It doesn't matter that it's Lucky Gloves. If you have enough items, you want to fully itemize them. So here I make Gwinsu and Last Whisper. Those are going to be Smolder items. I'm going to make Hodge, so Hand of Justice. That's why I have Tier Glove there. So I'm going to make Hand of Justice as a healing item for Briar. I have the Sterex Gauge, which is giving me my second Briar item. So I'm going to get 2 items now. I'm going to get 1 item on Carousel, and then I'm going to get 1 item on Dragon. So when I get the item on Carousel, it's going to be hopefully a Briar item, and then the item on Dragon, hopefully a Smolder item. I rolled down all my gold. I leveled to 9. I rolled down. I didn't find a Smolder. That's pretty bad. I need to kind of find the Smolder ASAP, or else I'm going to start losing too many rounds. I sell the Jace because, like, you know, the only reason you hold on to Jace, even though he scaled up with Eternal Growth, so did everybody else. I'd rather have Briar and then itemize towards the Briar. So I put the Thieves Gloves on the Nasus. That's also been scaling. And I'm basically just having Varus item hold my items for now. As you can see, I lose this round. This is upgraded mages. His items aren't the greatest. He has a Hodge on the Vex, but you know, it is what it is. And we're probably just going to try and roll for a Smolder whenever we can. It's stage 5, so I should also be rolling for charms. So I'm not against just like rolling a little bit each turn here. A single copy of Smolder, it doesn't have to be Smolder 2, will spike my board significantly, so I'm kind of down. I didn't like the charm that I saw, so I roll a little bit more, and now I see a Briar, so I'm just going to play 2 Briars. I'm 64 HP. I'm just feeding Briar every single turn now. I am 30 HP up on the next closest person in HP. I could ride out the HP and just like play for a first, but because I want to play for a first, I'm Briar paired now. I'm going to feed every single round until I'm around like 30 HP. Right? If I lose a round and I drop to 30 HP, then I'll kind of contemplate whether or not I think that I could outcap whoever is beating me. But for right now, I am so far ahead on HP, I can basically feed until I take one bad loss. So it's always a feed here. Right? Everybody's going to die before I even match HP with other people. So I might as well get these feed stacks in. I have Eternal Growth. Briar's going to be scaling. I have 6 Shapeshifters, so the feed is going to be really significant, right? Every feed is going to be more HP because Briar's going to scale off for HP with the Shapeshifter. This carousel fucking sucks, by the way. Remember what I was saying, that I wanted to find one Briar item on carousel, and then I wanted to find one Smolder item on carousel? There's no, there's no items. They're all spatulas. I don't know. Witchcraft is okay and Frost is okay, but realistically, I'm not ever going to play Frost. I'm not ever going to play Witchcraft. I just take whatever. I took a 5-cost unit, right? So I get just for gold's sake, right? But, you know, it is what it is. So that was useless. That was really bad. Remember, I was just explaining repeatedly, like I was talking about it a whole lot in this video on how, oh, I'm going to get an item for Briar here. I'm going to get an item for that dude there. Everything's going to be great. And fuck, it's just a spat carousel. Like, come on. I think this guy got Eldritch Spat. Huh? It's okay. Look at my Nico and look at my Swain. They're gonna be so fucking impossible to kill. Like, look at the lines on the Swain. He has so much HP. So I might actually win this fight. Like, even though he's Nyla 3, Syndra 3, like, my front line is so, like, look, my Elise and my Swain are still alive. Right? That's the significance of Eternal Growth. It makes it so that all those shitter units, all those like worse off units that aren't very strong, are insanely strong into late game. They're just unkillable. Obviously, Shyvana died because she dived the back line. Here I had Briar 2. Now that I have Briar 2, I should move the Sterix onto the Briar if I'm playing well. I don't know if I do it this turn, but I should do it at least this turn. Alright, yep. We're playing well today. That was a good move. Oh man, it's so much different when I'm actually like fucking awake and I'm playing. I could also move the Last Whisper onto the Briar, but I think I'd rather have Last Whisper on Smolder, just because it's a bow item. I think it synergizes a little bit better with the Gwynsu. But now I have 2 item Briar 2 that I've been feeding every single round. I'm winning all these rounds, so I'm going to keep feeding. Like I said, you want to be always 2 lives. Sometimes there's fight RNG. Sometimes things go wrong. You miss position. You want to have a turn to always react to your opponents. So I don't want to feed until I'm like 10 HP and just like, you know, you want to feed until you're around 1 life. On stage 6, I think 1 life is around 20-ish. I know on stage 5, 1 life is like 12 or higher because the base damage is 11. I think the base damage on stage 6 is 15 or 16. I forget exactly. So you want to be like closer to 20 to play it safe. And if you want to be 2 lives, being around 30 is sometimes good enough. Like a little bit above 30 because I think like you take like 17 damage or something. But like I said, I'm just going to feed down until I'm around 30 HP. That's like the goal here. And then I should be fine even on stage 6. Just in case, like you never know, somebody can like hit some crazy like Tokyo drift on you and like snipe all your backline, and then like somebody like jumps the wrong way and dies instantly. You never know. Somebody hits like a 3-star or something, and then you have to play for second. It happens all the time. Here I got my Briar item, so I have Sterix. I'm still looking for Smolder. I have a little bit of gold to roll, and we finally are Smolder. So I'm gonna sell the Olaf. I just had Olaf in for fun, basically. Item holding some stuff. I'm just gonna put all the items on Smolder. I don't know if Varus or Smolder does more damage. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's Smolder, not Varus. This Varus unit is really fucking slow and fake sometimes. 3 Dragon Smolder fucking goes hard. I put the chainmail on the Varus because I'm probably gonna move the Varus up in some of the fights if I think I have to snipe the backline. This is a fight that's really scary, by the way. The Rakan, even though this is post Kalista nerfs, this Rakan is really hard to deal with. As you can see, he's still staying alive forever, but my Briar kind of dives the backline, so I'm not worried anymore. If you have Briar 2 that's really well fed, with the Shyvana 2, they'll eventually hit the backline. It's a really bad matchup for the Kalista because of that, so I'm pretty sure I just win this lobby for free. Like, what did I do this game? I didn't even roll that much. I rolled a lot on level 9. But, like, I got a Nasus in my first shop. I started the game off with, like, 4 Shapeshifters. I had an early Swain. This is, like, the most high... I'm going to say it. I think this was the most I've high rolled in terms of, like, hitting everything that I wanted to. My whole board is itemized with Thieves Gloves. Look at my board. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, it looks ridiculous. It doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has items except Nomsy. Which, you know, poor Nomsy, but, like, holy fuck. Also, small optimization is probably to put the portal emblem on the Shyvana because it gives a little bit of AP. But you know, it's not even close. Like, I was like 60 HP and I fed Briar like 20,000 times. Look at the little ticks on the Briar's health bar. Look how small they are. She has fucking infinite HP. I wish I showed you guys how much HP she has. I should have right clicked it, but I didn't because I was too dialed in to win. Look at that. Look at that. That was a game. Holy. But anyways, hopefully that was enjoyable at least. I tried to amp it up, make it sound like it was fun. That's what a high roll game looks like, right? I'm not gonna pretend like I outskilled my opponents. I'm not gonna pretend like I outplayed everybody, that I was like the best gamer on the fucking server. I'm the coolest guy on the Rift. It's like I kind of high rolled out my ass, but that's how you convert it, right? It's fine. You know, sometimes these things happen. But anyways, that's Eternal. Hey, Eternal Growth, Briar 2, triple items, Thieves Gloves into like fucking 4 Thieves Gloves, Lucky Gloves. Holy. That was crazy. Anyways, hope that was enjoyable. Maybe, like, you know, sometimes we do like little fun videos instead of me just like showing a video and ranting about how I made 100 mistakes. So it's a little short one today. Just a quick little first on the first day of the patch. If you want to try out Shapeshifters, I have a couple videos on it. Some of them I point out other mistakes that I make and what I do along the way. If you have a spot like that with Eternal Growth, it's still really good, still really takeable. Like I said, it has a very good win condition. So, you know, a lot of times the stats are really dependent on you having enough gold to make it to 9, hit Briar, hit Smolder. If you don't think that you can make it like that in that game, then you're going to have to pivot or find some other variation to play. It's a very bad comp if you have to stay on level 8. Is the main thing you should always consider to yourself. But anyways, hopefully that was fun. Have a great rest of the day. See ya.